Now in part 4, we stand at the crossroads. Jeremiah 6:16 is the heart of this entire series. It is the word that ties David's story to Judah's crisis and to our own generation. And we want to give it the full, unhurried attention that it deserves. We want to walk through each one of Yahweh's 4 commands, receiving the great promise that accompanies them, addressing the new covenant directly from its own biblical definition, and asking what returning to the ancient paths actually look like for those of us living in this generation. And we need to understand this is not a mild suggestion offered in a season of spiritual stability. This is a final, gracious, urgent invitation extended by an Elohim of great compassion to a people standing at the edge of catastrophic, self-inflicted consequence, with the army of Babylon already visible on the northern horizon. And every word of this verse, it was chosen with care. Every command embedded in it was given for a specific reason. And we touched on these in the second teaching. But today, we want to go deeper into these principles and glean the full weight of the cry of the ancient prophet as it echoes into our day. So let's walk through these one at a time. Now, the first word of Yahweh's command in Jeremiah 6:16 is the most deceptively simple: stand. Before anything else, before looking, before asking, before taking, Yahweh says stop. Come to a halt. Take a position of deliberate, sustained stillness at the crossroads. So let's begin to break this down with the discipline of stopping in a world that will not stop. Jeremiah 6:16. This is what Yahweh says: stand by the roadways and look. And so in the ancient world, the crossroads, it was the place where roads from multiple directions converged, and a traveler who had lost his way would stand at the crossroads, not to rest, but to orient. He would stop the forward motion that had brought him to the wrong place. He would take in his surroundings and assess which road was the right one before committing to any further movement. And so standing, friend, it wasn't passive. It was the active, disciplined refusal to keep moving until the correct direction was confirmed. And so for a nation or an assembly or an individual in motion, carried along by the momentum of religious activity, institutional apathy, cultural drift, or inherited tradition, the command to stand is far more demanding than it appears. Stopping, it requires the willingness to suspend the normal flow of ministry, worship, doctrinal assumption long enough to ask the one question that the forward motion is designed to prevent: are we going in the right direction? And there is a reason this question is so difficult to ask from inside this moving system. When the new cart is rolling, the oxen are pulling, the crowd is celebrating, and everyone around you is convinced this is the right road, it takes genuine courage to raise your hand and say, wait, how do we know this is where we are supposed to be going? And it looked exactly like that when 30,000 plus people gathered around the new cart in 2 Samuel 6. And it still looks like it in every generation since, and our time and generation are not exempt from this. And so this brings us to our next point of focus, and that is the Berean spirit as the practice of standing. Now, the name of this channel, the Berean Way, it comes directly from the account of the Berean believers as found in Acts chapter 17. And what distinguished the Bereans was precisely the practice of standing. They did not simply receive what the Apostle Paul taught and just keep moving. They stopped, they opened the scriptures, they tested what they had heard against what was written. And then, once they had done the hard work of standing and looking, they walked forward with the confidence needed.